All right, shalom,
Shalom.
and welcome to our new moon celebration. As we know, a new moon is a new month. This is the way that Yahweh has given unto Israel for us to keep our time and to calculate our feasts and our holy days. And of course, anytime you're getting ready to keep these things, you're gonna always, begin to run into these full moon, new moon people, which is absolutely ironic because um, it should really give us a thing where we don't listen to people about how um, they say something, because what ends up happening to us a lot of times is we listen to how somebody presents something, and we then decide the believability based on how much it looks like they believe it. Um, and we have gotten some pretty confident people in the last couple of days about their new moon, full moon theology, which is absolutely ironic because these people, you should ask them, how long have you been keeping this new moon, full moon? And you'll find out they only been keeping it a couple of years, but they will talk to you about it like they've been keeping it for the last 30 years. This is even a new doctrine to most of them. They were keeping the new moon exactly like this until their fearless leader, their overlord, shows up and tells them this is the new moon. And without question, they all put on their purple and decided they were going to follow the new overlord to whatever cliff he decided he was going to jump off of. And they all lined up from Colonel on down and jumped off the cliff with him. Yet, so what do? Do you go back and get all of those other new moon videos and take them down? Now there's a whole process of that, which makes no sense whatsoever, because when we look up Kodesh, which is new month, or as we know, a new moon, excuse me, we know that during the new moon there is alignment. The earth, the sun, and the moon are directly in line. That is order. And from the point of zero, you don't start from one. You don't start from 15 to start counting. You start at zero. They try to explain to you that you need to have something else. None of us, when we even count our age, we didn't start at one the day that we were born. That's not how we call our ages. So how do we start at a number or something that's already put together? You start at a completely dark moon. After that, it waxes or grows. That is the point of growth. They want to tell you that the full moon is the new moon. So that is the beginning. So that would be completely opposite. To us, that would be the 15th day. So then understand how this is the theology of the devil. From the 15th day, what does the moon do from that point? If it is the beginning, understand, from the 15th day, what does the moon do? Wane, decreases. It decreases from the 15th. From the full moon, it then decreases. So it increases from the new moon all the way to the 15th day. Then that's the full moon. Then from the full moon, it decreases back to zero. So you telling me that in your beginning, from day one, you start decreasing? That's an idiot. But you see how you don't have to jump all over scripture to figure that out. Who you know? You ever walked up to somebody and they, how are you, man? I'm negative 14. How many negative 14 people you ran into? So why do we believe that we got to jump all over the book to prove this erroneous doctrine? Stop looking at how much zeal somebody has when they tell a lie. They just put some feeling into the lie. It doesn't make it the truth. And if it was so much of the truth, let's back up 5 years ago. Let's look at some of them 5 years ago videos that you put out. All those you kept all your holy days the same way. But think about what it does. Because you got those people who want to be different. Now, all of their holy days will be completely different than everybody else. Now they get to do what they've been doing. Tell everybody, yeah, y'all wrong. Y'all wrong. This is what they like to do. Tell everybody how wrong their days are. Because think about it. Other than that, all of the Hebrews would have their holy days maybe 1 or 2 days different. Depending on how they calculated the new moon, whether it would be before a certain time, you could either do it on this day or on this day. So we would all be maybe 1 or 2 days difference. Now these people are going to be 15, 16 days different. One of them Barney dudes just told me that Passover was yesterday. And they feel super duper about it. You know? Yeah, congratulations. You and Barney enjoy your past over. But we're going to do things according to Yahweh our Elohim. Thanks, but no thanks. Let's begin tonight in Deuteronomy chapter 19. And don't think you're gonna have a conversation with these guys. All they're going to do is spam you to death. Because they ain't got no time. They ain't got nothing else to do. Okay? They're just going to keep sending you a bunch of emails and a bunch of communication. You have several rounds of communication and then cut it off. You ain't got time to be one thing for sure. We ain't going to be doing this all night. Deuteronomy 19, let's start this in verse 15.
Verse 15. One witness shall not rise up against a man for any lawlessness, or for any sin, and any sin that he sins. At the mouth of 2 witnesses, or at the mouth of 3 witnesses, shall the matter be established.
And Yahweh has set these things up so that there is a form of righteousness that has to go forward, so that one person, no matter how believable they may sound, if we are dealing with serious matters, one witness shall not rise up and cause an individual to be in a really damning position just because they said so. And oftentimes this is, the position that we end up in, because we listen to one individual and never make that diligent inquiry where we go back to say, okay, let me check on this information that has been given unto me. Go ahead.
If a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him that which is wrong, then both the men, between whom the controversy is, shall stand before Yahweh, before the priests and the judges, which shall be in those days.
Now, the only way that all of these people are going to stand before Yahweh is somebody has to bring to light that there is a question of whether or not it is a question of character between one individual. Somebody has to bring that to light. If nobody says anything about it, how can all of these men stand before the judges? So if people just decide, I heard something suspect about this brother, or I heard something suspect about this sister, or I heard something suspect about this that's being taught, how is that going to be dealt with if all the individuals keep it to themselves? How can those 2 people stand before the judgment seat and plead their cause? So then that means that cause then is being multiplied from person to person to person, because no one has caused it to be judged in a righteous forum. So in other words, we allow more people to die. Go ahead.
Verse 18. And the judges shall make diligent inquisition.
Diligent inquisition. So now when it's brought to the judges, now it is their job to make diligent inquisition all over concerning the matter. But somebody has to bring it to them. See, if that's not brought, it's like releasing a serial killer off into the flock and just let them kill one by one, by one, by one, by one. Now, you saw the serial killer where they were planning their murderous activities. But because nothing was said, now you keep missing a lamb here, a sheep here, a goat here. See that's you look at those things on television and you see those things where they have the little sheepdog. It was amazing to me when I actually was riding down a country road and saw two sheepdogs. They are sitting amongst the sheep and the goat, and they are completely calm. And this is all they're doing. They are completely watching over the flock. They have been trained to watch those animals. As soon as something goes to lurking in those woods, they alert the shepherd. They start going off, and he pick up his shotgun and start moving. It is utterly amazing. You see that stuff on television and you hear about it, but it is real deal. And it looks strange to see this big dog sitting in the middle of these sheep. He got a job to do. He's guarding the sheep from them ravenous beasts that's lurking, trying to get inside that fence. Go ahead.
And the judges shall make diligent inquisition. And, behold, if the witness be a false witness, and has testified falsely against his brother, then shall you do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother.
So whatever his intent was to do unto his brother, this is the thing that is placed as judgment upon him or her. So then this thing then has a movable judgment based on whatever the desire of that individual was that they were going to do with that false testimony. Go ahead.
So shall you put the evil away from among you.
Now, the only way you're going to put evil away from among you is if you deal with it. Evil does not get put away from among you because you smile at it or because you turn the other way. That's not what makes evil leave. The sheep just can't say nice things to the wolves and they turn around and leave. No, that's what the dog and that shotgun for. The dog and the shotgun make evil flee. Go ahead.
And those which remain shall hear and fear, and shall henceforth commit no more any such evil among you.
So then those things must be done in the sight of everybody else, so then they will learn. So you might not see but one wolf when you let go that shotgun. But them other wolves in the bushes, oh, they heard it. Oh, no, he got a big gun over there. No, I heard it. Boom. Oh, no. No, they heard it. You just didn't see them. But they heard it. And they're supposed to hear it. Go ahead.
And see, the thing is to know the nature of the wolf. They follow in packs. You might only see one, but you got to remember they move in packs.
Yes. While one is circling on the left, there's another one on the right. And that wolf might look like he ain't got nothing to do with the action. He might look like he the dumbest wolf of all. But see, the way they work, one of them is pushing the sheep in while the other one is coming in to devour. That's a team effort. You ever see the wolves hunt? It look like they running in the pack, and their knees just go off over here. Where they going? Then they come in. And their job is to push. The sheep think they're getting away, but they're running exactly the direction that the sheep that the wolf want them to run into, because they running into their buddy over there. See, that's where the ravenous beasts have the upper hand on us. They have planned their attack. See, we all moving on instinct. We all moving because something has happened. But they already communicated between themselves how they were going to attack the flock. They have already had a plan for how they're going to move. You work on the left side, I'm going to work on the right side. Push them toward me, I'm going to devour. They got a plan. This is why we have to depend on the shepherd, because that's his job to watch over the flock. Go ahead.
And your eye shall not pity, but life shall go for life. Eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot.
And why does Yahweh have to remind us here? When it comes down to righteous judgment, here we come and we are thinking about what we like, what we don't like, what we love, and this gives us an opportunity to have pity. Yahweh said, no, you shall not. Righteous judgment must be done. Why? Because according to what's written in Yahweh's law, it takes the blood of the one who defiled the land to cleanse the land. So you cannot show them pity. When you think that you are showing them pity, you have just allowed your land to be defiled, and without any opportunity of making atonement. Because you just showed pity on the only one who could cleanse your land, the one who defiled it in the beginning. That's the one you got to cut. You can't just go and get, see, this is our thing. We want to just go and get some miscellaneous animal and sacrifice it, shed its blood, and make atonement and cleanse our land. No. Yahweh said, no. Was there a specific situation that caused your land to be unclean? I need you to go get that specific individual and deal with that. That's the only way he's going to accept it. Go ahead, brother.
I was just going to say, and when you show that pity, depending on who's around, it gives people other thought processes. Because remember the situation with Dawid and his son. When his son was dead and he started, and his captain had to go in and say, man, what? You'd have preferred that we all died?
Right. And he had to let him know. And it wasn't like his general was like the most righteous fella of the land. But he let him know, you're going to turn the hearts of all these people if you continue to act this way. And even that man being the king, what did he do? Change. He changed what he was doing. He stopped because he was caught off into his own personal moment. Oh, my son. Oh, my son. Hey, man, other people lost their kids too, man. So the only one that was important was your kid? And we get into those moments of selfishness without even knowing that we're stuck in these moments of selfishness as we are dealing with what we think, what we feel, what we believe. But the important thing is, what do we do when those things are brought unto us? When that was brought unto him, he changed what he was doing. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 13. And we're going to read verses 1 through 18.
If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and gives you a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder come to pass, wherefore he spake unto you, saying, let us go after other gods, which you have not known, and let us serve them.
Now, Israel not going to come right out and ask you to let's serve other gods. Israel is going to deal with that in another fashion. All right? They're not going to tell you that it's another god. They're just going to tell you that maybe it's a gathering. You're going to notice some other things as you pay attention in the gathering. Go ahead.
You shall not hearken on to the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams. For Yahweh your Elohim proves you
Uh-huh.
to know whether you love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul.
So then Yahweh will allow somebody to come up with some believable sounding doctrine. But the test is not for that individual. The test is for you. He is proving you to see whether or not you love him or not. We don't really realize a lot of times that we are fighting for a position. Yahweh said, I may take two of a city, one of a family. He don't need everybody. I flip that around every time, don't I? Yeah. 2 and 1. Yeah. Go find it. But we kind of just think that Yahweh's going to deal with us because we showed up. No, you're fighting for a seat. You don't start something being less than 100%. Because if you know us, we're going to decline after time anyway. You know, when we first started the job, come on now, they said the job started at 8 o'clock. We'd had 7:56. You know, when we first got the job. You know. But after a while, 7:57, 7:59 and 36 seconds. Then 8:15, maybe a little 8:30. The longer we got the job, the less important. We do the same thing with a relationship. When we first get in a relationship, I love you. You hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. 3 years later, bye. And you might be lucky if you get that. Some folk be in the middle of a sentence. All right, we're going to do that. Are they still? Hello? Baby. You got, oh, they gone. What happened? What happened to you hang up? What happened to you hang up? No, you hang up. Where'd they go? Right. We do the same thing with this word. We get in this word, it's zeal. We showing up early. We doing the things that need to be done. A couple of years later, I ain't gonna do that. I ain't showing up for that. You want me to do what? Right. Yahweh prove us. And we don't even have any idea that we're being proved. We think the test is somebody else's. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 13 and verse 4. You shall walk after Yahweh your Elohim, and fear him, and keep his commandments, and obey his voice, and you shall serve him, and cleave unto him.
Right. All your obeying and cleaving need to be unto Yahweh your Elohim. Go ahead.
And that prophet, or that dreamer of dreams, shall be put to death.
Right. And how you put somebody to death here spiritually, cut them off from your presence. You don't physically kill them. They become cut off from your presence all the while they're dealing in their foolishness. If you hang with a murderer, that makes you an accessory. You hang with a bunch of robbers, you're going down when they come get them. Go ahead.
Because he has spoken to turn you away from Yahweh your Elohim, which brought you out of the land of Egypt and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, to thrust you out of the way which Yahweh your Elohim commanded you to walk in. So shall you put the evil away from the midst of you. If your brother, the son of your mother, or your son, or your daughter, or the wife of your bosom, or your friend, which is as your own soul,
or your wife, or your friend, which as is your own soul. Go ahead.
entice you secretly, saying, let us go and serve other gods.
Now remember, Israel's slicker than this now. Israel not just going to come up and ask you, let's go serve other gods. What Israel is going to ask you to do is let's go do something opposite of what Yahweh wants us to do right now. So where are we supposed to be going? We're supposed to be going to the sanctuary to keep the Sabbath. Let us go somewhere else. You need to learn how to hear. Translation, let us go serve other gods. What? What you just asked me? And if you respond the right way, They'll never ask you that again. See, they ask you each time because you showed some tingling in your ear of listening. See, the first time somebody asks you to do something and you know you're supposed to be doing something else, it all depends on how you answer that first one. When somebody say, "Hey man, let's go do some drugs," he said, "Well, no, well, what kind?" Now see, now you finna get another question. You finna get another question. Now, if them same people said, "Hey, let's go do some drugs," and you pick up that bat and look at them and say, "What you say?" They'll never ask you that again. See, some of the questions that we're getting is because we didn't respond the right way the first time. That's why you're getting another question and another invitation and another. Why you think me and Kish don't never get invited to shindigs? Why y'all think that? Y'all think? Come on now. I have always been the life of the party. Come on now. I've always been that dude. How would it be that I would not get an invite to a shindig? I know why. See, the life of the party part was before I got into this word. Now, that conversation somehow is gonna go back to this book. No, don't invite that dude. Right? Go ahead.
Which you have not known, you nor your fathers, namely of the gods of the people which are round about you, near unto you, or far off from you, from the one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. You shall not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him, neither shall your eye pity him, neither shall you spare, neither shall you conceal him.
Neither shall you conceal him. Wait a minute. So then you are doing evil by concealing him.
No, I'm just neutral.
There ain't no such thing as neutral. One thing I can tell you about that neutral gear. When I put my car in it, it don't go no damn well. I can put it in neutral and just hit the gas. I said, well, maybe I ain't pressed the gas hard enough. I'm still right there. The old lady in the walker, like, well, this boy gonna figure out he in the wrong gear sooner or later. Neutral don't go nowhere. Neutral is lukewarm. It has no purpose in Yahweh's kingdom. You either going backwards or you going forward. Neutral is something you go into in between going forward or backward. Some people think neutral is a permanent position.
I'm just neutral.
Then you have no purpose. Forward has a purpose. Backward has a purpose. If you are in neutral, that is the place you go into in between other places. Why are you stuck in neutral?
Well, I just want to be fair.
No, you're being useless. Go ahead.
If you're in neutral and the right force comes along, it's going to push you either backwards or forward.
Of course, you go whichever way the wind go. See? Whichever way, that's where you're going. So in other words, when you neutral,
I'm just going to see who the strongest. Whoever's strongest can get me. Push Kish.
Right. Go ahead.
Verse 9, but you shall surely kill him. Your hand shall be first upon him to put him to death.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Your hand shall be the first upon him to put him to death.
Your hand shall be first. See, Yahweh not playing. First of all, we need to think about some things because Yahweh has gone out of his way to give the children of Israel land. The same thing that he did the first time, we're going to have to do again. So let's hurry up and get rid of these neutral people now. Because when we get ready to take care of this business, we don't need no bunch of neutral people trying to...
Let's just sing them to death. Maybe if we shema real loud, they'll join us.
Now they gonna kill you. And you gonna have to make a decision. Go ahead.
and afterwards the hand of all the people. And you shall stone him with stones that he die, because he has sought to thrust you away from Yahweh your Elohim, which brought you out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. And all Israel shall hear and fear, and shall do no more any such wickedness as this is among you.
All Israel shall hear. So you don't do this silently. You don't do this in some corner. All Israel need to know the judgment, so then they will know. Don't do that right there. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know what I ain't going to do. I ain't going to do that right there. Go ahead.
If you shall hear say in one of your cities, which Yahweh your Elohim has given you to dwell there, saying, certain men, the children of Belial, are gone out from among you, and have withdrawn the inhabitants of their city, saying, let us go and serve other gods which you have not known. Then shall you inquire, and make search, and ask diligently.
Then you shall inquire. Hold on now. Verse 13. Certain men, the children of Belial, are gone out from among you and have withdrawn the inhabitants of the city. So they have drawn people to go to a shindig. Here, this shindig. I know y'all might, search shindig and you might not be able to find it in scripture per se. Here goes shindig. All right. Translation. They have drawn people out, withdrawn the inhabitants of the city, saying, let us go and serve other gods. Now, it is now your job. Then shall you inquire. Why? Because he brought it to your ear first. See, neutral people, this is where they drop off right here.
They oh my goodness. I done heard some neutral time. Stop. Neutral time.
Okay. Go ahead.
So for this you, is that just for the priests?
Oh, that's not what I read.
Oh, okay. I'm just asking. I'm just trying to make sure I clarify. Get a good understanding.
Well, maybe he said they. He said thou. They shall. No, you. Go ahead.
Then shall you inquire and make search and ask diligently. And behold, if it be truth, and the thing certain, that such abomination is wrought among you, you shall surely smite the inhabitants of that city with the edge of the sword, destroying it utterly, and all that is therein.
And check this out. You have an order of things. When these things are brought, then they have an opportunity to speak, because it's been brought that, hey, both men have an opportunity to stand before the judge. But somebody have to say, if the priest over here, the priest ain't going to hear everything. All right? There's somebody over there that heard the situation. He can't be here and there. So Yahweh brought something to your ear for a reason. Go ahead.
And the cattle thereof with the edge of the sword. And you shall gather all the spoil of it onto the midst of the streets thereof, and shall burn with fire the city, and all the spoil thereof every whit, for Yahweh your Elohim, and it shall be in heap forever. It shall not be built again. And there shall cleave not of the cursed thing to your hand, that Yahweh may turn from the fierceness of his anger, and show you mercy, and have compassion upon you, and multiply you, as he has sworn unto your fathers. When you shall hearken to the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, to keep all his commandments which I command you this day, to do that which is right in the eyes of Yahweh your Elohim.
Right, to do all of the things that Yahweh your Elohim has given unto you. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 12. Second Corinthians chapter 12, and let's read verses 6 through 10.
Verse 6. For though I would desire glory, I shall not be a fool, for I will say the truth. But now I forbear, lest any man should think of me above that which he sees me to be, or that he hears of me.
Right. When you talk about the Apostle Saul and all of the great things that he was able to do, you have to consider he's going into all of these places spreading the word. There was one situation where, where everybody is afraid about what will happen to them. Saul is going into all of these places and he is already accepted. when my day come, there ain't nothing I'm going to be able to do about it. That is what it is. So he with some people, he get bit by a snake. They said,
No doubt he is a murderous, evil man.
because why else would that snake just jump out of there and just bite on his hand like that? He is a demon. And they sit there and they wait. And he shake the snake off and keep talking. And they like,
all right, he should swell up and die here in a minute. In a minute. Shouldn't he be dead by now?
next thing you know, they say, he's a god. Right. He didn't think nothing of it. Kept talking. Go ahead, bro.
At least I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations. There was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure.
Least I should be exalted above measure. So now he has been given a thorn in his flesh so that he can be leveled off. What if people saw that thorn in his flesh and then say,
well, this means he cannot be chosen of Elohim.
this thorn in his flesh was given to him so that he wouldn't be exalted above where he's supposed to be because of all the other things that were given unto him. So sometimes people think they know what they're looking at, and you ain't looking at what you think you're looking at. Go ahead.
For this thing I besought the Adonai 3 times.
How many times?
3 times.
Sometimes we'll go through something one time, and that's it. We go either ask one question or seek something one time, it didn't work out, we done. But how many of us got a job on the first interview? I don't even know no job to do one interview no more. You have to interview so they can choose you to interview. Because the head guy don't even interview you unless the other guy say, yeah, these are the candidates right here. Oh, okay, I like this one right here. Okay, well then call that one back in. The hired person don't even want to see all the miscellaneous people. I don't want to see them. You go through and pick them. And when you pick them, then you call me. And then I'll go after that. Go ahead.
That it might depart from me. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for you.
So, do you think he said that on prayer number 1? Or prayer number 2? Or did he only get his answer after he sought 3 times? If he got his answer on number 1, where'd he go back for number 2 and number 3 for? See, do we seek after things diligently? Or do we put forth a half effort and then blame everybody else when it don't work out right? What kind of effort did you put into it? Go ahead.
My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness.
All right, keep going.
Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of the Mashiach may rest upon me.
Most gladly, therefore, I will rather glory in my infirmities. Go ahead.
Therefore I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distresses for the Mashiach's sake. For when I am weak, then am I strong.
In other words, situation and circumstance helps to make him stronger. As it is written, they must have their senses exercised by reason of use. Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 13. First Samuel chapter 13, and we're going to read verses 1 through 14.
Verse 1. Saul reigned 1 year, and when he had reigned 2 years over Israel, Saul chose him 3,000 men of Israel, whereof 2,000 were with Saul in Michmash and in Mount Bethel, and 1,000 were with Jonathan in Gibeah of Benjamin. And the rest of the people he sent every man to his tent. And Jonathan smote the garrison of the Philistines that was in Geba, and the Philistines heard of it. And Saul blew the trumpet throughout all the land, saying, "Let the Hebrews hear."
Mm-hmm.
And all Israel heard say that Saul had smitten a garrison of the Philistines, and that Israel also had in abomination with the Philistines.
Mm-hmm.
And the people were called together after Saul to Gilgal. And the Philistines gathered themselves together to fight with Israel. 30,000 chariots and 6,000 horsemen, and people as the sand which is on the seashore in multitude. And they came up and pitched in Michmash, eastward from Beth-aven.
Mm-hmm.
When the men of Israel saw that they were in a strait, for the people were distressed.
Stop. Now the people are distressed. Did you hear of anything in this process where Saul asked Yahweh, shall he go up? Shall he do anything? He made a decision. He was sitting there 1 year, 2 years.
No, I got to do something. I'm getting the amps in my pants. Getting antsy.
It's time to do something. So we go over here and we're going to fight these giants. Yeah. Then they start mounting up.
Oh my! Look at how many of them it is.
Wait a minute. You was acting froggy. You went over there and jumped. Now they finna jump back. Go ahead.
Then the people did hide themselves in caves.
Oh, now they hide now, but they talk that talk. They had no problem starting this. Now here comes the situation. Go ahead.
And in thickets, and in rocks, and in high places, and in pits. And some of the Hebrews went over Jordan to the land of Gad
They
and Gilead.
running. Go ahead.
As for Saul, he was yet in Gilgal, and all the people followed him trembling.
They followed him trembling. Because he done got it started. He done got it jumped off. Because that's what he felt like doing. Go ahead.
And he tarried 7 days, according to the set time that Samuel had appointed. But Samuel came not to Gilgal, and the people were scattered from him.
Right.
And Saul said, "Bring hither a burnt offering to me, and peace offerings." And he offered the burnt offering.
So now he has now placed himself inside the priesthood. He's not only not just a king now because Samuel is supposed to be coming at this appointed time. The people trembling, and he watching everybody else. See, the people are uneasy. And see, when uneasy people watch other uneasy people, now they feel, they got to make a move. But Yahweh will purposely delay some things to prove you. So now he has left his job as a king and has now taken on the job of the prophet. And now he has made sacrifice. Go ahead.
And it came to pass that as soon as he had made an end of offering the burnt offering.
When?
Right when he's finished.
As soon as he finished. Yahweh sit back in the cut and sit back and watch. And as soon as we get finished, all right, now go there and tell him I'm going to kill him. No, wait, let him finish. Let him finish. Yeah, he got to finish, right there. And as soon as he finished, go tell him. Go ahead.
Behold, Samuel came, and Saul went out to meet him, that he might salute him. And Samuel said, "What have you done?"
What have you done? Go ahead.
And Saul said, "Because I saw that the people were scattered from me, and that you came not within the days appointed."
Did you catch that? You see how it is now Samuel's fault?
See, you didn't come at the appointed time. See, had you been on time, I would not have been made to do this.
See, you have to learn how to hear mess. See, your mess detector should go off sometime when people talking. They be like, I'm sorry. Was that some mess? Yeah. Because you came not at the time appointed. It's your fault. You know I'm an uneasy person. You know I don't have no rule over my own spirit. How you going to be late? Go ahead.
And that the Philistines gathered themselves together at Michmash. Therefore said I, the Philistines will come down upon me to Gilgal. And I have not made supplication unto Yahweh.
I have not made supplication unto Yahweh. Maybe you should have made that, let me think, before you started the fight. You think maybe you should have probably asked Yahweh something? Go ahead.
I forced myself, therefore, and offered a burnt offering.
I made myself do it. I didn't want to be disobedient, but I made myself. Go ahead.
And Samuel said to Saul, you have done foolishly. You have not kept the commandment of Yahweh Elohim, which he commanded you. For now would Yahweh have established your kingdom upon Israel forever.
Right. Had you just done and followed this little bit of stuff, even though he really didn't like you like that. Okay? He really didn't choose you like that. Okay? He got you because the people wanted you. But had you been obedient, he would have let you stay. Go ahead.
But now your kingdom shall not continue. Yahweh has sought him a man after his own heart, and Yahweh has commanded him to be captain over his people, because you have not kept that which Yahweh commanded you.
Right. So Yahweh proves all men by saying, what are they going to do in situation and circumstance? Anybody can keep Yahweh's law when don't nobody bother them. But can you keep Yahweh's law when somebody off in your ear? Can you keep Yahweh's law when certain situations and circumstances are presented before you? Can you still keep his law? Yahweh knows exactly what it is he's doing. Now, when Samuel did not come to King Saul at the appointed time, King Saul felt justified in erroneously making an offering unto Yahweh. Saul immediately deferred his shortcoming away from himself and toward the prophet Samuel, saying it was because you were not available at the appointed time. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians chapter 3. See, we have to learn how to hear certain things in the law where Yahweh places the blame where it's supposed to be when it comes down to certain situations. So then when we hear blame being placed erroneously, we got to be able to call it out. 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, and we're going to read verses 1 through 15.
Finally, brethren, pray for us, that the word of the Adonai may have free course and be glorified, even as it is with you, and that we may be delivered from unreasonable and wicked men. For all men have not faith.
Right. As it is written, if we get ready to go to war and there's somebody that's afraid, let them go home. Why? Because their fear is going to spread to other people. Why? Fear is a spirit. So if you can hang around the fearful and you become fearful, if you hang around those that are entertaining a spirit, guess what happened? You start entertaining that spirit. Go ahead.
But the Adonai is faithful, who shall establish you and keep you from evil. And we have confidence in the Adonai touching you, that you both do and will do the things which we command you. And the Adonai direct your hearts into the love of Elohim and into the patient waiting for the Mashiach. Now we command you, brethren, in the name of our Adonai Yahshua HaMashiach, that you withdraw yourselves from every brother that walks disorderly, and not after the tradition which he received of us.
Right. Do we have the power to do that? Go ahead.
For yourselves know how you ought to follow us, for we behave not ourselves disorderly among you.
Right. Is it disorderly because it's against the word, or is it disorderly because it's something that you don't like? See, we don't get to choose disorder. Yahweh sets what's disorderly among us. So do we have a blind eye to disorder because it's somebody we like? and you are just as guilty as they are. Go ahead.
Neither did we eat any man's bread for naught, but we wrought with labor and travail night and day, that we might not be chargeable to any of you. Not because we have not power, but to make ourselves an ensample unto you to follow us. For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat.
If any would not work, neither should he eat. Go ahead.
For we hear that there are some which walk among you disorderly, working not at all, but are busybodies.
When they're not working, they don't have no choice but to be busybodies. Every time you turn around, the ones who are not working are the ones who are always up in some mess. This is when the devil likes to play with us. That idle mind. Go ahead.
Now them that are such we command and exhort by our Adonai Yahshua HaMashiach, that with quietness they work and eat their own bread. But you, brethren, be not weary in well-doing.
Be not weary in well-doing. Go ahead.
And if any man obey not our word by this letter, note that man, and have no company with him, that he may be ashamed.
That he may be ashamed. What is that to do? Not to cut the brother off to kill him. That is to cause repentance. How they gonna repent if you keep telling them everything is all right? How they gonna change their ways if you keep allowing them to enjoy your company even though they're in the wrong? Then you the reason they're not repenting. Go ahead.
Yet count him not as an enemy.
Yet count him not as an enemy, because that's not the purpose of it. The purpose is to cause repentance. Go ahead.
But admonish him as a brother.
If you're going to admonish him, then you're going to discuss the things that were done in error and let it be known, so that if he is ashamed, he then has an opportunity at repentance. If a person is proud, they're not going anywhere near repentance. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 10. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, and let's start that at verse 1.
Now I, Saul, myself beseech you by the meekness and gentleness of the Mashiach, who in presence am base among you, but being absent am bold toward you. But I beseech you, that I may not be bold when I am present with that confidence, wherewith I think to be bold against some, which think of us as we walk according to the flesh.
As if we walk according to the flesh. What does that mean? They think that everything that we doing is of our own heart and mind, like Yahweh is not directing us. See? Folks like to act like that Yahweh ain't dealing with nobody but them. Go ahead.
For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Elohim to the pulling down of strongholds.
To the pulling down of strongholds. So when the Spirit directs a servant to go in one direction, but other individuals want to go in another direction, they are then grieving the Holy Spirit and don't even have a clue. And the Spirit will tolerate it for a while. But eventually, the Spirit is going to deal with the situations that every time I try to turn left, there's a force that try to make me turn right. So that's how you know something wrong with your vehicle. When you get ready to turn left and your steering wheel says, I want to go right. You know, something wrong with that damn car. I turn this steering wheel left. That thing is pulling me to the right. And when you go to the shop, they're going to start asking you questions. Hey, man, what's that car doing? Hey, man, that car pulling to the right. When did it start pulling to the right? When I told it to go to the left. Go ahead.
Verse 5. Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of Elohim, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of the Mashiach. and having in a readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. Do you look on things after the outward appearance?
And this gets us in a lot of trouble because we're looking on something after the outward appearance. But everything is not always as it seems. In fact, most of the time it's not. Go ahead.
If any man trust himself that he is the Mashiach, let him of himself think this again, that as he is the Mashiach, even so are we the Mashiachs.
Right. Let him think this of himself again. Change that. Go ahead.
For though I should boast somewhat more of our authority, which the Adonai has given us for edification, and not for your destruction, I should not be ashamed.
For though I should boast somewhat more of our authority, see what happens when people come in, they then try to usurp the authority. When people have departments, they have departments and they have the authority to deal in those departments because that's their job. Now, when somebody else come in and try to step on their authority, now they're fighting against the spirit. That's their job. If Benel back there and he click broadcast because it's time for us to go on air, and one of them back there click stop broadcast, it's going to be a problem. And because that is his job, he ain't got to ask me, hey man, can I broadcast now? Ain't that your job? Why are you asking me, can you do your job? And anybody come in between that are coming against the direction that the Spirit is directing this congregation. You need to be somewhere else. Go ahead.
Verse 9.
Call Yahweh and tell him you know he made a mistake. Yahweh sent you here out of everywhere. Tell him he made a mistake. Go ahead, we're bad. Tell him. Go ahead.
That I may not seem as if I would terrify you by letters. For his letters say they are weighty and powerful, but his bodily presence is weak and his speech contemptible. Let such an one think this, that such as we are in word by letters, when we are absent, such will we be also indeed when we are present. For we dare not make ourselves of the number, or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves, but they, measuring themselves by themselves, and comparing themselves among themselves, are not wise.
Right. You're going to always be all right. All you got to do is find somebody who's more sinful than you.
You see that? I'm good.
Based on what?
Based on how sinful they are.
That's not your measuring stick. Your measuring stick is what's written in this law. You can always find somebody, who deals with something worse than you. Go ahead.
We will not boast of things without our measure, but according to the measure of the rule which Elohim has distributed to us, a measure to reach even unto you. For we stretch not ourselves beyond our measure, as though we reach not unto you, for we are come as far as to you also in preaching the gospel of the Mashiach, not boasting of things without our measure, that is, of other men's labors.
Right. Why we get so many emails and things, what ends up happening is you have people that were here from day one as we built everything that we have. Then you have those that want to come in afterward and just basically take over what somebody else built. They want to take over somebody else's labor. And if somebody believed that Yahweh sent them, then take care of your business. But you find what happens is people don't want to build from scratch. They want to take another person's labor and build from theirs. He didn't tell Saul to go and take nobody else's disciples. When people tell me they come from another church, and they say, you know, I used to go to another church. I go to another church, and I'm coming here. I'm like, stop, go back there. Now, we started this ministry to deal with the lost sheep. If you're a found sheep, I need you to find your way out of here. Go back where you came from. Because you know what they bringing? The mindset of that other place. And then as soon as things don't go the way, now they already had a schism with where they came from, but they still like some of that stuff of where they came from. So then they want to implement those things here. No. Go back and reconcile with the place you came from. Don't come here. Go back. Go ahead.
But having hope, when your faith is increased, that we shall be enlarged by you according to our rule abundantly.
There's certain times, brother, that we've seen people and they say, we came from such and such and such and such. And me and kids do like this.
Yeah, it'll be about 35 more minutes.
You're going to be out of here. Because they ran here, running from something else. Yeah, well, sooner or later, I'm going to get to a point in this word, they're going to run you out of here. And that's why they just jump from place to place to place. Place to place to place. Everywhere they go somewhere, they hear something they don't like, they go. They go over there, they hear something they don't like, they go. Go ahead.
To preach the gospel in the regions beyond you, and not to boast in another man's line of things made ready to our hand.
Right. One man sows, but another man reaps. Do you do the part that is given unto you? Or are you trying to take something that belonged to another man? Go ahead.
But he that glories, let him glory in the Adonai. For not he that commendeth himself is approved, but whom the Adonai commends. Would to Elohim you could bear with me a little in my folly, and indeed bear with me. For I am jealous over you with godly jealousy. For I have espoused you to one husband, that I may present you as a chaste virgin to the Mashiach. But I fear, lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your minds should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Yahshua.
Right. What people want to do is try to make this word more difficult than it is. To draw people either after whatever doctrine they are delivering. There is the simplicity of the Mashiach, but they're going to make it difficult because we're going to talk about some real deep stuff. Right. And before you know it, you howling at the moon. Go ahead.
For he that comes preaches another Yahshua, whom we have not preached. Or if you receive another spirit, which you have not received, or another gospel, which you have not accepted, you might well bear with him. For I suppose I was not a whit behind the very chiefest apostles, but though I be rude in speech, yet not in knowledge, but we have been thoroughly made manifest among you in all things.
Hey, you might not like my speech, but I know what I'm talking about. You might not like the way I say it, but I said it that way for a reason. Go ahead.
Have I committed an offense in abasing myself that you might be exalted? Because I have preached to you the gospel of Elohim freely?
See, what we like is the way them Christians charge us. That's what make us think that something has value. We go to a place, they give us 2 verses and then charge us $45 for the DVD.
We say, oh yeah, we're going to get that. Yes, praise him. Won't he do it?
We turn around and give this word out. Then people say, oh, it has no value because he's giving it away. They would like it. If I come down here today's sermon is going to be on Psalms 18, verse 12. Then if you want to hear the rest, go to whatsockgot.com and $39.99 you can get the DVD. It's sad, man. But hey, they'd have to shut the website down. People would be running to go get it. Because that's the kind of stuff we like. Because it's offered to you freely, you think it doesn't have any value? Go ahead, bro.
I robbed of the churches, taking wages of them to do you service. And when I was present with you and wanted, I was chargeable to no man.
Uh-huh.
For that which was lacking to me, the brethren which came from Macedonia supplied.
Right. And what happened is, folk think everything you got came from them. They don't see you working to the bone. They just see you when you're here. They don't know you got another job and then another job after that. Go ahead.
And in all things, I've kept myself from being burdensome unto you, and so will I keep myself.
Uh-huh.
As the truth of Yahshua is in me, no man shall stop me of this boasting in the regions of Achaia. Wherefore? Because I love you not? Elohim knows. But what I do, that I will do, and that I may cut off occasion from them which desire occasion, that wherein they glory, they may be found even as we.
He says that I may cut off occasion for those which desire occasion. That means they looking for an opportunity. And be careful. When you look for something, Yahweh will go ahead and set you up and let you find it. Or at least make you think you found it. Go ahead.
For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Yahshua. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light.
Uh-huh.
Therefore it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. I say again, let no man think me a fool. If otherwise, yet as a fool receive me, that I may boast myself a little. That which I speak it not after the Adonai, but as it were foolishly, in this confidence of boasting. Seeing that many glory after the flesh, I will glory also. For you suffer fools gladly, seeing you yourselves are wise. For you suffer, if a man bring you into bondage, if a man devour you, if a man take of you, if a man exalt himself, if a man smite you on the face. I speak as concerning reproach, as though we had been weak. Howbeit, whereinsoever any is bold, I speak foolishly. I am bold also.
Uh-huh.
Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they the seed of Abraham? So am I.
Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. So the issues he was having was with us. The people that's going to come against you look just like you. Go ahead.
Are they ministers of Yahshua? I speak as a fool.
Are they ministers of Yahshua? At least this is what they call themselves. Go ahead.
I am more, in labors more abundant, in stripes above measure, in prisons more frequent, in deaths often.
Right. He then speaking of his work. He's speaking of his experience. See? You got a whole lot of people that'll say a whole lot of nice things, and they'll offer and present to you a whole lot of things. But when it come down to it, they ain't been through what he been through. Go ahead.
Of the Yehudis 5 times received I 40 stripes, save one. 3 times was I beaten with rods. Once was I stoned. 3 times I suffered shipwreck. At night and day I have been in the deep.
Hey, this is all for the word's sake. See? When somebody tell you about their sufferings, did they suffer because they had done something wrong? Or was their sufferings all while they were trying to keep Yahweh's word? Then now they've had their senses exercised by reason of use. This is how he separates himself from the other so-called ministers of Yahshua. Go ahead.
In journeyings often, in perils of waters, in perils of robbers, in perils by mine own countrymen.
By who?
His own countrymen.
Go ahead.
In perils by the heathen, in perils in the city.
In perils by my own countrymen, then with the heathen. Go ahead.
In perils in the wilderness, in perils in the sea, in perils among false brethren. In weariness and painfulness, in watchings often, in hunger and thirst, in fasting often, in cold and nakedness. Beside those things that are without, that which comes upon me daily, the care of all the churches.
The things that come upon me daily, the care of all the churches. So as he's receiving these letters, he's then giving communication back out to these individuals, like these emails that we get. Then we send out another email and dealing with the things that is given unto us. This is what these letters are. That's what we're reading. Go ahead.
Who is weak, and I am not weak? Who is offended, and I burn not? If I must needs glory, I will glory of the things which concern mine infirmities. The Elohim and Father of our Adonai Yahshua HaMashiach, which is blessed forevermore, knows that I lie not. In Damascus, the governor under Aretas, the king kept the city of the Damascenes with a garrison, desirous to apprehend me. And through a window in a basket was I let down by the wall, and escaped his hands.
Right. We talking about a brother who has been thoroughly exercised in the word, a brother who has gone through many things and suffered many things because of the word. But let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Galatians chapter 2. Galatians chapter 2, and we are going to read verses 1 through 14.
Then 14 years after I went up again to Jerusalem with Barnabas, and took Titus with me also. And I went up by revelation, and communicated unto them that gospel which I preach among the Gentiles, but privately to them which were of reputation, lest by any means I should run, or had run, in vain.
So now you already have a problem, because he's telling the children of Israel of the things that he has taught among the Gentiles. You have a lot of Israel that are angry at the Gentiles. Understand now, the Gentiles rule over them in this city. The Gentiles are causing them some issues. So you have some people that this is now the perfect opportunity for them to punish somebody, you know, concerning the things that they have been made to undergo in the holy city. So they don't want these Gentiles to hear the word. So they have a problem right now. And he's openly talking about teaching these Gentiles. And you have the same thing today. You have no idea how much hate mail we get sometimes. Brother, you a teacher Gentile? What is wrong with you? Man, what book y'all reading? And every time they call here or send something here, we deal with their mess and send them on about their way. The same thing Saul do. Go ahead.
But neither Titus, who was with me, being a Greek, was compelled to be circumcised. And that because of false brethren unawares brought in, who came in privately to spy out our liberty, which we have in Yahshua HaMashiach, that they might bring us into bondage.
So the false brethren came in to privately spy out what's being done, so that then they can use that to somehow come against them. So they come, they look, oh, this is Gentile. Let's find out if this Gentile circumcised. Oh yeah, we're going to attack them because of that. Go ahead.
To whom we gave place by subjection, no, not for an hour, that the truth of the gospel might continue with you. But of these who seem to be somewhat, whatsoever they were, it makes no matter to me. Elohim accept no man's person.
Right. Either you're going to follow what Yahweh has written or you're not. He's like, I'm not accepting your person, who you are, whether you young, old, male, female. You either going to follow what Yahweh has written down or you're not. Go ahead.
For they who seemed to be somewhat in conference added nothing to me. But contrariwise, when they saw that the gospel of the uncircumcision was committed unto me, as the gospel of the circumcision was unto Cephas, for he that wrought effectually in Cephas to the apostleship of the circumcision, the same was mighty in me toward the Gentiles. And when Jacob, Cephas, and Johanan, who seemed to be pillars, perceived the grace that was given unto me, they gave to me and Barnabas the right hands of fellowship, that we should go on to the heathen, and they on to the circumcision. Only they would that we should remember the poor, the same which I also was forward to do. But when Cephas was come to Antioch, I withstood him to the face, because he was to be blamed.
I withstood him to the face because he was to be blamed. Now, Cephas is the rock on which the church was built. So he has more authority than Saul. So it appears. But right is right and wrong is wrong. Go ahead.
For before that certain came from Jacob, he did eat with the Gentiles. But when they were come, he withdrew and separated himself, fearing them which were of the circumcision.
In other words, he was a hypocrite. He did one thing in the presence of the people and did another thing when they wasn't around. Hypocrisy. And it caused this brother a problem with his job. Because now it's affecting other people. So he got to call it out. He said, I withstood him to the face. Not I went behind his back and started talking about him. Go ahead.
And the other Yehudis disassembled likewise with him, insomuch that Barnabas also was carried away with their dissimulation.
Now it's even affecting other servants. It has affected the Gentiles, then it has affected other servants by this hypocritical walk. The two-facedness of what's supposed to be servants. Go ahead.
When I saw that they walked not uprightly according to the truth of the gospel, I said unto Cephas before them all, if you, being a Yehudi,
When I saw that they walked not uprightly according to the truth of the gospel, I said unto Cephas before them all. This ain't no private conversation. Ain't nobody pull nobody to the side. What did the law say? Rebuke them before all, that they may learn to fear. Go ahead.
if you, being a Yehudi, liveth after the manner of Gentiles, and not as do the Yehudis, why compel you the Gentiles to live as do the Yehudis?
Right. So he is dealing with this situation. He withstood him to his face, and he had to do it publicly so that the other people would learn that this was a thing done in error. This neutral thing is the thing that is going to end up killing the children of Israel. You don't take back a land from the infidel by being neutral. We're going to have to pick a gear, either forward or reverse. But neutral need to get the hell out of everybody's way, because it has no purpose whatsoever. That's all that we're going to do for tonight. Enjoy your new moon. Shalom.
Shalom.